Hey, welcome back to the shop. I'm David. This week's project is going to be chemistry class. So I am going to attempt to make some nickel plating solution and nickel plate a few items. This is not necessarily a how-to video, it's just how I do it. So the things we need is I've got a container here with a 2-liter mark on it so I can measure everything out. I've got some 6% acid vinegar, splurged and got the good stuff to get a little higher acidity in it. We've got some table salt that we'll mix in with the vinegar, measuring spoon for that. I've got my nickel anodes. I've got some copper wire, and I've got some alligator clips and an old phone charger that's, I think it's 300 milliamps, so about 0.3 amps, and it's 12 volt DC. So I'm hoping this will do the trick. The copper wire is just some picture hanger wire. I'm hoping it's real copper. I'm going to probably triple it up and twist it just to give it a little better connection. So I'll bring the camera a little closer, and then when I get ready to plug it in, I'll have to turn it around. I've got ventilation in the window behind the camera, and I definitely want to ventilate in case I've got too much salt in there. I don't want to create any kind of poisonous gas, so we'll be venting this for sure. So, all right, so I need about 2 liters of water, or excuse me, vinegar. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up so I can get one thing off the table. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is on the phone charger, the side with the white line is a positive, and it's important we understand which one is positive and negative. So I'm going to cut this clip off here. And then I've got to split that. And then get that stripped. My camera angle and audio was really messed up on this clip. So what I've done is I've got some machine screws and nuts, and I'm just wrapping the wire around the screw and then tightening it down with a nut. So I've got a good surface to clip the alligator clip on. The wire was really thin coming off the wall charger, so I wanted to be sure I had something really good and strong for the alligator clip to go on. So I want one anode on this side, one on this side, and I want a connection up here, so I'm going to take this down to about right here and bend it over. Alright, so I need to add some salt. Best guess from the research I saw was about a tablespoon per liter. So I have a teaspoon measuring, so 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon, I think. So I need to put 6 in here. It seems to be dissolved fairly well. Alright, I guess the next thing to do is plug it in and see what happens. Alright, let me reset the camera up and I'll have you facing this way so you can see the reaction. Alright, so I'm going to go positive to this side. I'm going to go negative to this side. It's only been about 30 seconds. You can see there's already a reaction happening. This is my 30-minute check-in. Check it again another half hour. Alright, we're at the 2-hour mark. Not a whole lot of change, but it is getting a little bit greener. I'm going to let it go one more hour. It's been about 3 hours. Thinking I'm going to call it quits here. I'm going to get this light on here and see if we can see, but it's looking pretty green. Transferring to a different container because I want to get the nickel anode further away from the item that I'm plating in. It's tough in the tall container. Okay, this is the item I'm going to try and plate. It's a piece I made for another project. First thing I'm going to do is get it real clean with some acetone. I did polish this on the wheels, so it may have some compound residue on it. I'm going to be sure I get this clean and give myself as good a chance as possible at success here. If I had hydrochloric acid, I would do a bath in hydrochloric acid. But I went to 3 places yesterday and could not find any anywhere in town. Alright, so I got a piece of copper and something to suspend my part from. So I'm going to get it wrapped up here. Alright, so I got my positive on the anode. I'll put my negative on the copper wire. I'm going to plug it in and see what happens. It's bubbling. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes since I started the plating process. Let me get this out of the way. I'm going to unhook it and pull a piece out and rotate it around a little bit. I don't know if it plates underneath the wire. Just want to make sure I get good coverage. It's definitely working. Copper wire is completely plated. Alright, I'll plug it back in and let it go for another 15-20 minutes. And I will go enjoy my coffee. Alright, I'll let it go another 15 minutes or so. It looks like it's taking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and see what it looks like. Well, nothing's rubbing off. Looks good. I just don't know how different it looks from what it looked like before it went in, because this was pretty shiny anyway. Alright, I found something that should tell me for sure whether it's getting coated or not. So here's a penny. Pulled it out of my pocket. Didn't polish it or anything. Just drilled a hole in it. So I'm going to hang it on the wire. And we'll see what happens. It's only been in there a couple minutes, but you can see the nickel is starting to take to it already. Definitely need to let it go a lot longer. Alright, this is day 2 of my nickel plating experiment. If you remember, I have a penny down in the solution. Got it plugged in. Put it in here yesterday for about 10 minutes and had to leave, so turned it off. Came back, and it didn't do a whole lot. Came back in this morning. Plugged it in. It's been in there for about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, and it's very interesting. The bubbles are much more active today, and it looks like it's really plated it better. So I'm going to unplug it and we'll pull it out and see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and get it some water. So it definitely has plated it a lot more than what I was getting yesterday. It's a very gray finish, which is what I understood to be correct. So let me get this cleaned off and or off the wire. Let me clean it up a little and see what it looks like. All right, I just took the penny over to my buffing wheel with a little bit of red compound and buffed it out. I only did part of it just to show you. So here is the before polishing and here's after. So I'm going to say my nickel plating experiment has been successful. Maybe I'll try one more sample piece. This is the first part I'm going to nickel plate that actually counts. This is the backer plate for a dial and a lever handle for a safe that I'm restoring. The only part that you can see once it's assembled is this outer ring here and of course the front of it. All of this is concealed. And of course this goes up against the back of the safe door, so I'm not too worried about that. Had a few pits, I've cleaned them out the best I can. Gave this thing a fresh polish this morning, cleaned it with acetone. So let me get it wired up, we'll put it in. It's a big part, so this may take a while. Okay, I've got the part suspended in there. I wrapped the copper wire around it best I could. I'm not sure how much difference that makes. I'm gonna get it hooked up and plugged in and let her rip for, I don't know, this may have to sit in there for an hour. Alright, I was not real happy with the results I was getting from the nickel plating. This very small pieces, the penny and the bolt, they seem to work fine. But anything I tried to plate that was much bigger than that, wasn't getting a good result. I think part of the problem is that my solution's not charged enough. So I am going to switch over today to this battery charger, and I've got it set on the 12 volt 2 amp setting. A little higher than I want, but it's really all I have. So I'm going to recharge my solution. So I've got it set up, and I'm going to keep a close eye on it because I'm concerned this is going to get really hot really fast. So anyway, I'm going to get plugged in and see what happens. Should see a pretty immediate reaction with the bubbles. See the bubbles on the negative side here. Alright, so my solution is a lot, the green is a lot more pronounced now, and this is what the anodes look like. So I think you would call this the cathode and this the anode, or maybe I have that backwards, I'm not sure. But you can see how much material is missing off of this one. Sorry, didn't have a camera. So you can see how much material is missing off of this piece here. This was the positive lead and this was the negative lead. So the molecules were moving from here to here through the solution. And a lot of this that's missing, some of it is stuck on here. You can see it kind of rubs off. The rest of it's in the solution. So first thing I'm going to do is try and filter this out and get a fresh solution, and make sure I got a nice clean bath to put my first item in. Yeah, we caught a lot of that in there. All right, my next test is going to be this brass fitting. It's just like a 3/8 brass threaded elbow. I don't know if this has a coating on it or not, how it's going to react, but I'm going to give it a shot. Hopefully this won't take long with the extra power. So I can tell it's not completely coated. Underneath where the wire was is not coating. So I'm going to move the wires around and see if it will get underneath there. All right, we'll see if that works a little better. All right, I'm not terribly disappointed, but just as a reminder, this is very similar to the piece that I just plated, and this is what it came out like. It's not horrible. It looks like it does because I didn't do anything to this before I put it into the solution. So I didn't sand it, didn't polish it. All I did was clean it with acetone. All right, I'm going to make another attempt to plate this piece of copper. It's the backing plate for the safe dial. So I've got it rigged up a little bit different on the copper wire, and I'm going to be using a little bit more juice to see if I can have a little bit better effect. So let me get this put in here. All right, it's been right about 2 minutes, so I'm going to pull it out and see what it looks like. The nickel plating is there for sure. I don't think it's on there as thick as I want, but I'm going to clean this, polish it, and I may dip it back in the bath again. All right, I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick this up. Let me see if I can get it focused. All All right, I think the camera's picking this up okay. So this is what it looks like without polishing it, straight out of the nickel bath. And then this is what it looks like when it's polished. So I'm really happy with the outcome on this. I've got a few spots it didn't take, so I'm going to re-clean it and put it back in again. But this, if I can get the whole thing to come out like this, I'll be tickled to death. Well, I went back to polish the copper piece before I put it back in the bath, and as I did, I noticed that actually the nickel finish adhered to the entire piece everywhere I want it, which is around this rim. I'm not concerned about this. I'm not concerned about this because those will never be seen, even though the nickel took fine to this. But I'm going to say that this was a success, so looks pretty good. All right, chemistry class is over for me. Learned something new this week, how to nickel plate. Had never done this before. I watched a couple videos, read a few articles, and then really it was just about the experimentation. So where I settled at, especially on the larger pieces, was I doubled up my anodes, which gave me more nickel moving through the bath. But before I did that, I actually redid my bath for a couple more hours with higher power. Ended up using 12 volts, 2 amps, which made this solution a lot darker green, which told me there was a lot more nickel in it. So that worked out well. But I experimented with a bolt, had okay success with this part here, which had okay success. And then today, I had really good success and extremely happy with the way this piece came out. This is part of a safe combination lock. So if you want to see me nickel plate some more and want to see the rest of this project, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you'll know when a new video is coming. If you got something out of this or I entertained you for a few minutes, appreciate you if you hit that thumbs up like button. It really helps with my channel. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.